Christian Audio presents The House on Foster Hill by Jaime Jo Wright. Narrated by Erin Bennett. I washed the weather and the journey from my face and hands, and went out to the memorable old house that it would have been so much the better for me never to have entered, never to have seen. That was a memorable day for me, for it made great changes in me. But it is the same with any life. Imagine one selected day struck out of it, and think how different its course would have been. Pause, you who read this, and think for a moment of the long chain of iron or gold, of thorns or flowers, that would never have bound you, but for the formation of the first link on one memorable day. Charles Dickens, Great Expectations. Chapter 1. Ivy. Oakwood, Wisconsin, March 1906. Death had a way of creeping up on a soul, and Ivy Thorpe was determined that when it visited her, she would not be surprised. Her story would be recorded and remembered. There was nothing worse than seeing the casing of a soul that had drifted into eternity, knowing the body would return to dust while the life lived became a tin-plated photograph with a forgotten name. Lives lost in the passage of time, unremembered, like Andrew. Ivy averted her eyes from the path leading to the pond where her brother had died. A different soul needed her attention today. Shedding tears over Andrew would only waste time and leave her dehydrated. Where did they find her? She posed her question to her father, whose long strides were in rhythm with the medical bag swinging from his hand at his side. He stepped over a tree root buried just under the surface of the dirt road. In the hollowed oak tree. Ivy hoisted the hemline of her green wool skirt. She frowned. The tree was ancient, and the memories it had witnessed fascinated Ivy's curiosity. Stories hidden in its leafless soul, if such a thing were possible. The oak that has no bark on its trunk? Her father gave a curt nod. He was as focused as she was, but for different reasons. The mind of a doctor dubbing as medical examiner would be spinning with the questions about how the deceased died, or what the method of death could tell them about her last moments. But for Ivy, separating the person from the science of her death was impossible. Who was she? Not just her name, or if she struck a familiar chord, or could be identified, but what was her story? What memories did she leave behind, and what hearts were broken in the wake of her passing? Ivy blinked to shove away a surge of unwelcome sentiment. Grief was a high currency to pay for loving someone, and she paid her dues on a moment-by-moment basis. Trees arched over the road, their scraggly arms outstretched. Spring was on its way, though ice was still trapped in tree crevices, with patches of snow in the shaded pockets of the root base. As they rounded the corner, Foster Hill came into view, so named for the town's founding family. At the top, glaring down at them with empty eyes, was Foster Hill House. It had been abandoned before Ivy was born. The years had not been kind to the old house. Ivy squinted into the sudden glare of sunlight as the bright orb escaped from behind gray clouds. Several men congregated at the bottom of Foster Hill, their backs to her and her father as they surrounded the base of the largest oak tree in Oakwood, Wisconsin. 3 of the men she recognized, the sheriff, his deputy, and Mr. Fogarty, who liked to trap animals on the abandoned property, mostly raccoon and mink by the stream that ran into the pond, and "For all that's holy," Ivy froze, releasing her grip on her skirt and allowing the hemline to settle on the
Sample complete. Ready to continue?